Good morning. This is Vanessa House from Cult to V. I've actually been wanting to get on and share a little bit about what I've been going through in January. I've been kind of MIA from our group, and that's because I've been dealing with some of my own personal health issues, which I want to share with you guys today. I guess I've been wanting to share more about my journey, and so I'll start with where it all began. I grew up with a mom who was super strict, and especially with food and what we looked like and outfits, and we always matched, and my hair was always done. I mean, total 80s hair. She would curl my bangs before school. I had to blow dry my hair before I went to bed. You can't go to bed with wet hair and then go to school in the morning and look good. And so I did beauty pageants and modeling and commercials and acting classes, lived in Miami, and was a part of that whole scene growing up. And I think after she passed away, I was so driven and determined to become a model, which was her dream for me, and I did it. And I was my own personal CEO and got myself an agency, and I was in New York and Miami and Europe, had agencies all over the place. And through that part of my journey, I developed an eating disorder because you always have to be thin, and they always tell you, you got to lose 10 pounds. And so I think just from the years and years of always caring about what I look like, how much weight I was gaining or not gaining, just always having to lose weight, I developed an eating disorder, and that kind of carried through with me into my marriage, and has been a struggle over the years. I'm finally free. I never thought that I would be able to eat a meal without ever feeling the guilt or the temptation to go throw up, or really just get through the day without focusing on my weight and what I look like, and if I ate that, I shouldn't have, just like the mental beating up of gaining weight just was an obsession, and I never thought I would be free. But one day I was volunteering for Luis Palau's ministry, and I met this wonderful woman who ended up being my spiritual mama. And I confessed and just said, I need help with this thing. I don't know how to fight this battle. And so she really just took me under her wing and took me to Whole Foods. I had never heard of Whole Foods. I had never heard of veganism or, vegetarianism. I had never heard of any of that. And so for the first time in my life, I stopped eating to be thin or not eating and started eating to be healthy. So there was just this mindset shift. And that was what set me on this journey of health. And I fought the eating disorder and fought those temptations and that obsession to be thin with eating healthy and making healthy choices. And it's been quite a journey. I always had these ovarian cysts growing up. And I remember one time I got an ultrasound and they said to me, wow, you are fertile myrtle. When you want to get pregnant, you'll have no problem. Obviously, I have 4 kids now. But these ovarian cysts have been an issue for me. And I was pretty much free of them until after the birth of my second child. Hi, Lynn. Hi, glad you're watching. I was just sharing my testimony about with my health and what's been going on with me lately. So after my second son was born, I got a massive fever and I thought I had the flu, but my husband was really nervous because I was so cold and outside in July, laying on the pavement, just trying to get warm in the hot Florida sun. And so I ended up going to the emergency room, and they misdiagnosed me with a urine infection and went back home with some antibiotics and was still sick. So we went back and they said, well, you have an ovarian cyst, and it's basically the size of your baby's head. And so it had twisted 3 times, and the doctor that I got blessed with, I'm so blessed by this doctor, Dr. Channing Coe in Fort Lauderdale, for all you Floridians. He did not cut my ovary, which most people would have. I was deliberate and like really, really adamant about just having him drain it. And so he drained that cyst, and then I was fine. I would say about 6 months later, it came back, and we had to get it drained again. And then I got pregnant again, which was really emotional because I had a feeling that these were coming because of the hormonal imbalances from being pregnant and then not pregnant. And so anyways, it came back again during my pregnancy, and I had to have surgery when he was 12 weeks in the womb, which was really crazy. It ended up affecting my delivery with my third son. I had to get him induced and out and then into surgery again because it came back again with vengeance. So when we were in Rochester, New York, when Adam was playing basketball, I had been free of this for a couple of years. I had no signs of cysts, and I was laying in bed and had actually just rubbed. Hi, Greta. I'm glad you're here. I'm sharing my testimony of what I've been walking through lately. So I rubbed my kids are coming in. I need to direct them upstairs. So I rubbed my abdomen, and I felt this huge mass on my abdomen, like scary, huge mass. And I immediately woke up and was like, okay, this thing's back and it's huge. And so I went to the emergency room and basically had a cyst that was so big it was filled with 2 liters of fluid. Yes, like a 2-liter Coke of fluid in my abdomen. And when they went to do the ultrasound, they said that they called in oncology. They said this time it has a mass on it. And so basically we want to take your ovary and then we're going to have to test it for cancer. And so I went through all of that, and I actually did not want them to remove the ovary, but I had was really persistent and took about 3 months to find an alternative kind of doctor. And he was actually an old school OBG who it took me 3 months, and I literally was living with this thing in my abdomen. And I was listening to my instincts, because I knew that having an ovary wasn't the problem, and that I didn't need someone to come and chop my ovary off and then everything would be normal. There had to be a root to this issue. And because I had studied at Hippocrates Health Institute, I knew that there was something on a deeper level going on with my body. This is self-love, friends, to listen to your instincts, to listen to yourself, to always get a second opinion. When I finally did find a doctor who would do that, they tested it, and they called me, and they basically on the phone told me that I had cancer, that it was stage 1, that we needed to call in the troops, that we needed to have our family there for support, that I was going to lose my hair, and have, chemotherapy and this whole list of like what this journey was going to look like for me. And so I took a couple of days to sit with this and think about it. And I decided not to go this path. This was not what I believed. This was not what I had studied. I had studied at Hippocrates Health Institute, where I'd seen people come back to life from stage 4 cancers and chemotherapy and have color again. And so I, and I told Adam, I said, I don't want to do the chemotherapy. I don't want my kids to see that happen. I need to do what I believe in. And the things that God had put in my path early on, all stemming from my eating disorder and all stemming from my journey with that and holistic health, I went back to that, back to what I believed, and told Adam, if God says this is my time, then it's my time, but I'm going to fight this naturally. And so we went down to Hippocrates, checked myself in with my kids for a month. And in that, that was one of the most healing times of my life, was at, when I was told that I had cancer, and I was down at Hippocrates, and healing on different levels, not just like with what I was eating, what I was taking, but just like a spiritual healing and being in tune with my body. Again, that's self-love and listening to your inner instincts when the world or the doctors are telling you something different. And they were speaking out over me that I had cancer, and I didn't want to do what they were telling me to do. So, we got a second opinion while we were down there. Thank God for second opinions. If you're told that you have some kind of cancer or some terminal illness or sickness, you need to get a second opinion. So we went to Cancer Center, and I got a second opinion. And the first thing the doctor said to me was, take a deep breath. Relax. You do not have cancer. That's right. I had a false cancer diagnosis. They told me that I had an LMP tumor, which is a lower malignant potential tumor. And these are not treated with chemotherapy. They are removed, and then you maintain a yearly or 6-month appointment to follow up on the cancer. So this was 2012, and ever since, I go every year and get a scan, and I get my CA-125 checked. And I've been pretty consistent until last year. When we moved, I wasn't able to go to UM anymore because we were not in South Florida. And so I just kind of put it off. And I recently went, actually in January, just my instincts, again, listening to my body, listening to myself, went in and got my yearly exam. And again, I get a phone call like the first time. They tell me on the phone, this was in the end of January this year, and they told me that I have another mass on my ovary, and basically scare the crap out of me. So I'm in Nordstrom Rack with my child on the phone with a doctor crying, called Adam, and, said, okay, here we go again. I guess this is my journey. So we, again, they wanted to send me to the local Beaumont Hospital. And again, if you ever get a cancer diagnosis, don't just go to the local hospital. There are amazing cancer institutes that have VIP service. You do not need to go through the hospital. Your insurance covers it, and you can go to these amazing places. I went to Karmanos Cancer Institute, and again, met with the doctor, and she said to me, her first words, wow, they really scared the crap out of you, didn't they? So they did it to me again. But I do have a hemorrhagic cyst, and the test came back. I had an MRI. It's hemorrhagic. It's not an LMP tumor. So I am really relieved of that. But this month has been, last month has been really hard because you go through all the thoughts again of is this going to be my path? Is this what God has for me? Am I going to leave my kids like this? Is this going to be what happens? And again, I was true to what I believed, and just started doing all of the alternative treatments and talked to the alternative doctors that I have been blessed with over the years. I am treating the hemorrhagic cyst holistically. It's been really painful. I have not been able to do yoga. I went into February starting a 28-day reset with my yoga community, and I was unable to go to class. My mother-in-law came up and watched the kids so I could rest. That's really the only thing that you can do is take pain medicine and rest. They tried putting me on progesterone. I went to a functional medical doctor and they tested this on my body, and that's a whole nother conversation we can have, is functional medicine, and my body did not want this, so I'm on like a natural progesterone. I talked to the doctor that I had interviewed here on Cultivee, who helped formulate Cultivee's Rhythm and Sync, and basically when you have these ovarian cysts that come, they're a sign of estrogen dominance. So your body, if your liver is not functioning properly and you cannot regulate, the liver does so much. It regulates your hormones, it regulates and filters everything that comes in and out, all the toxins in and out of your body. So I am taking something called Liver Act. Cultivee will eventually have our own of this product, and it is super potent, and I'm helping my liver to detox. And I'm taking the Rhythm and Sync, and I think the 6 months of the Rhythm and Sync, I think my body is. And after talking to these alternative doctors, my body's detoxing something, these crazy hormone levels, the changes that are going on in my body. The Rhythm and Sync has really been awesome. And so I take 2 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon, and then this Liver Act, and I am regulating my hormones and taking the progesterone cream. Our environment is so estrogenic. Our foods are so estrogenic. And then you put all of the ingredients in our soaps, makeups, detergents, everything, all of that. They're all estrogens. They're, I can't think of it right now. Xenoestrogens, and these xenoestrogens act as an estrogen in the body. And so we're overloaded. Our environment is overloaded with these types of estrogens in our diets, and they are sending our bodies into these hormonal craziness. I don't know. So many women, when I knew some of this was going on, and I went to Hippocrates last spring. I knew my body was changing. I had gained about 20 pounds and I couldn't lose weight, and I hadn't done anything differently, but there was a hormonal shift happening, and my thyroid wasn't functioning properly, my endocrine system. And I asked Dr. Brian Clement at Hippocrates, why is it that there was like a lot of women there, and a third of the women are having thyroid and hormone issues. Why is this going on? And this is the answer, folks. We have so many, and then our phones, that was one of the things he really pinned in on with the thyroid gland. And we're sitting there with the phone really hitting our thyroid and just radiating it on top of the weakness that's already there in our bodies from from our environment, from our foods, and all the products that I was saying. So, again, I go through cycles. Things cycle in and out of my home. I, along this journey, have, let certain things back into my home, and then something like this happens, and I'm like, oh, I gotta, we have to clean out. It's been a good month. It was hard. But again, it was February, and I had wanted to post all this stuff about self-love, but in my own journey, I was walking through another level of self-love and really being in tune with myself. I threw out all my makeups that aren't, that I kind of compromise on, all my skincare stuff. There's a specific brand of skincare that's super popular right now. And I mean, it was amazing. Look, I don't have any makeup on, and I got rid of like all of my dark skin spots. I mean, it was awesome, but that was the one thing I had changed over the last year. I hadn't gotten any cysts. Again, after I had that diagnosis, I got pregnant with my fourth son, and they wanted to do a full hysterectomy on me. And I got pregnant with him, and I hadn't had any cysts since, but I did change some things. I did let some things into my body again. Our skin is our largest organ. Every cream, every perfume, everything we put on our skins, detergents, our clothes that are washed in detergents, if they're not clean, and even the ones that say they're like organic, you have to read the ingredients. They have hidden ingredients in there. If you don't know what it is and it has a weird name, it's not good for you. That's it. That's my rule of thumb with anything. And then they try to make some things sound good by like putting the name and then saying, oh, derived from, soy. Oh, soy is good. No, soy is not good for you. Soy causes estrogen dominance. And so, again, I've just been cleaning out. I've been feeling better now. My body, I can tell, is dissolving this cyst, but we go through different highs and lows in our journey, and this has definitely been a rough one, but I have learned more and gained more knowledge on estrogen dominance, again, on the ovaries and how the women's systems work. That's what this is all about. That's what Cultivate is all about. So I wanted to come on and share with everyone kind of what I've been walking through, and pour out from my heart and what I'm going through to hopefully help someone else that is walking through this. I can tell you the chances are, most of you watching, most of you that are going to see this, are struggling with some form of estrogen dominance or hormonal disruptance. And I really encourage you, keep following me, keep looking at the things that I'm posting about detergents and perfumes and makeups, and I'm going to have some recipes for alternatives. It doesn't have to be expensive. Actually, some of the stuff that they say is like good for you or healthier options, they still have those chemicals and harmful ingredients in them. I wash my laundry with baking soda. I go to Costco once a month. I buy 2 big bags of baking soda, and I use that with something called Back Out for the bacteria and essential oils. And that's what I use. And it's dirt cheap, and it's cheaper than some of the stuff out there. Tide Pods, it's cheaper. I make my own cleaning products. I use vinegar and water. I add alcohol for glass. It's really easy, ladies. This does not have to be a huge expense added. It's actually going to save you money. So make sure you guys keep following. Thank you for everyone who's watching. I love you guys. Thank you for hearing my heart. Pay attention to your bodies. Love yourselves. Listen to your instincts. We have these God-given internal instincts There are things that have been people that have been put in your path to impact your journey. Pay attention to them. They have completely shifted my life. I don't know where I would have been 5 years ago if I would have said yes to chemotherapy and yes to a full hysterectomy. I can tell you one thing, I would not have that fourth little baby boy that was given to me. He wouldn't be here. If I didn't listen to my instinct, if I was feared into doing what they told me that I had to do. So I love you guys. Peace and love to you. Thank you for joining me and listening to what I've been going through. Please message me if you are going through anything similar or anything that I can help speak life into. Again, always get a second opinion. Always. Love you guys. Bye.